Hey, horror fans. Thanks for joining me for this review of Coven. Alright, Witches and Spells. Here we go. So, cast and crew information down below, and let's get into this plot a little bit here. 5 underground witches come together in order to perform a ritual to invoke the ancient powers of the witch Ashura. Alright. There's a little bit more there, but I'll just cut it off there and give you the briefs of what's going on here. So yeah, you've got a handful of witches here, and one of them is obviously kind of in charge, as usually is the case, and with some of these bigger spells that in these movies, you need multiple witches in order to pull off whatever it is they're doing here. And they're obviously trying to bring the power of Ashura back, which is a witch that they've pledged their allegiance to, or whatever, or have fallen in love for whatever reason. So the witch here in charge doesn't really like one of the witches that's involved here, but sometimes you don't get to, I guess, pick your witches that you're with, because you need them all to do the spell. So you kind of see that really off the bat, and then they get to the spell part, and while that's going on, for whatever reason, this witch just decides, I've had enough of this girl. So she decides to kill her, and of course that means the spell doesn't work, and now they're short of a witch. So she intimidates one of the other witches to start getting with it and get a locator spell and that kind of thing. We've seen in other witch movies and other TV shows and stuff. And they find another witch. She's a little bit on the nice side as well. It's going to need some convincing, and they kind of sink their teeth in a little bit. First they kind of maybe do it a little bit of a harsh way, then they try to be nice. Then they kind of give her an offer she can't refuse, and that's she's lost her mother, and she wants an opportunity to be with her mother again. And they say that if they can bring back Ashura, she can be with her mother again. In the meantime, this evil witch, the one that's in charge, along with basically her sidekick witch, her lover witch, her girlfriend, whatever you want to call it here, they do a spell in between, kind of giving her some other powers, making her a little bit more powerful and making her a little bit more evil. This is going to be a new release here, so I'm going to try to stop at some point here and not give everything away here. But I think, based on the storyline, it's fairly obvious what's going to happen here. So I'll leave it be as she's gained a little bit more power now, and the 5 of them are going to go back and try to do the spell again, and then you can see what happens after that. I'll leave it there, but that's the basics of it. We've seen different witch movies before, and so forth, and it always seems that you need several of them to do these kind of things, but one is always more power hungry than the other ones. And maybe even they have good intentions at the beginning, but then that all goes downhill. So you kind of see that in this one as well. Now, if you've seen me either on my chat or heard me on the podcast, talk about remakes, I always find my way talking about remakes for one reason or the other, or maybe even on some of the other reviews. One of the things I've said is that if you want, instead of just remaking the movie and keeping the same name, why don't you just name it something else and just roll with it, and not really be the claim to fame that you're the replacing or remaking or whatever you want to call it a certain movie. Case in hand example of Black Christmas, the latest Black Christmas, the latest Child's Play. Those movies could have been titled different, been different movies. Same theme, could have gone along the same lines, but give them different names, let them run, and they could have worked out fine with different names under them. This one is I don't know what the intentions of or how this film came together, but this almost runs in that kind of category. So either as you start watching this, you're going to start kind of thinking very much like The Craft. They are in college here, but they don't really focus on that aspect. The Craft kind of deals in the school setting and so forth, and I believe that was high school. But they do have a lot of moments there where early on, especially where you see them in the school and they go through that whole school routine and so forth. This one, it's more like the college is the setting, but they never really get into that aspect of it. Here it is a lot focused just on the witches and what they're up to and where they're going. And but there's similarities. You hear The Craft. You had I think there's 4. This one you have 5, or you need 5. In The Craft, one of them kind of went and sought advice elsewhere, and in this one you have a witch that is seeking advice elsewhere. Again, you have good witches versus bad witches. So there are a lot of similarities there. Maybe even want to throw in, if you want. I didn't really watch the TV show that much, but if you want to throw in Charmed, maybe there's probably some similarities there as well. But then again, those are 2 big, witch movie, witch TV series. So if you're doing anything witches, it might be a little bit hard to escape some of those things. But I just found myself really seeing this as another version of The Craft. So I'm glad they didn't just say, this is the remake of The Craft. Oh, they're doing that already. Okay, so they are doing that. We'll see what disasters they do there. But this is, could have been a remake of The Craft. But just they obviously didn't entitle that. So with that aspect, I'll give them credit. I don't know, the whole story about how this movie came together, and the influence of that. But to me, I clearly felt I was watching The Craft, or at least a level of that. A big difference here in this movie is that they are college students, and obviously that makes them a little bit older, and they feel free to show a little bit of nudity in this movie. These are witches that do end up getting taking their clothes off a bit, and are a little bit free with themselves there. So I guess that is a big difference from The Craft. So I thought that was interesting that they kind of had to loosen up here and let these witches kind of run wild a little bit. So if you like that into your horror movie, there you go. And then the ending was okay. It was, they try to pick up the drama and so forth. I didn't think it was anything fabulous. Trying to think how much, if it really got twisty or not. Again, I don't think it went overboard there. I think it kind of plays out kind of the way that you'd expect it to. And we have, again going back to The Craft, it's classic, good witch versus bad witch. And obviously, you have problems when you have witches with too much power. It would have been nice if it was just kind of distributed amongst the group, but then you wouldn't have had chaos, and you probably would have had an even worse movie. So again, this movie, I think, overall, it's okay. I since it's so tied closely to the Craft, and you can kind of see that. It's not throwing a whole lot of new stuff at you. This one might be a little bit darker off the onset, and obviously I think the difference is that even though in the craft you kind of knew who was going to end up being the bad girl, it took her a little bit of time to really, embrace her badness and where she was going. I think in this movie, right off the bat, you know who the evil one is going to be, and she's basically evil from the start. I mean, she tries to play nice, but she's just not. So there's just no hiding it. So that is a little bit of a difference there. So, and that's why I say that maybe this one is a little bit darker. Obviously, they have a little bit less clothes. The acting is okay. But I think, overall, it's just going to be another witch story. So if you do like witches, maybe you'll like that. If you're into witch movies and so forth, maybe you'll like this one. Again, I didn't think it went out of its way to do anything greatly new and greatly special. But I can at least appreciate them not trying to call this The Craft. But then again, there's The Craft out there already. So a remake of The Craft, that's supposedly on the way. So we'll see what they do there. Can't wait to review that one. So with that, I think I'm just going to give this one 2 pools of blood. Just ends up being another witch movie here. So with that, I will conjure up the ending to this review by saying, more video reviews, please subscribe to this channel. And if I could put you under a spell to do that, it would be great, but I'm not a witch, so can't. HorrorStoryReviews.blogspot.com. Also down below, you can find more of my reviews, written reviews, reviews of more recent stuff. I know this is a recent one, but I usually do older stuff on the video reviews. But definitely a lot of newer stuff is being done by written reviews. And social media is down below as well, so if you want to reach out on Twitter or Facebook and you need me to review something, I'd be happy to do so if I can. If you want to talk horror, we can talk horror there, talk about this movie, other movies, anything in the horror world that you want to talk about, we can do that there as well. So yeah, that is the end of this spellbinding experience, and I will catch you on the next review.